it certainly was the news of the day until the diagnosis came down on Ja Morant being out or doubtful for the remainder of the postseason. And that, of course, is Tom Brady signing a 10-year, reportedly a 10-year, $375 million contract with Fox Sports to call their games once he is retired as a football player, whenever that'll be, after next season, after 2 years from now, whenever it'll be, he will start off with Fox. And Rob, to put that in perspective, Tony Romo did Tony Romo have the previously highest deal at 10 years, $200 million?
No,
that was the highest before. And Rob, we mentioned
football contract. Go ahead.
No, that was his to call games. Tony Romo, 10 years, $200 million. Yeah.
But Jim Rome makes $30 million. Jim Rome actually makes more. But go ahead.
Tom Brady, in his 22-year NFL career, has made $317 million. So, Rob, in less than half the time, he's going to make more money than he ever made playing football. That's the part. I mean, look, Romo's getting more, I guess. I shouldn't be surprised. Aikman obviously is getting way more. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised. But that's really the part that really jarred me, You
might be right with Aikman. Rob G, look at what his highest salary.
Aikman's making $18 million a year. There's no way he got.
There's no way he was making that. He might not have made more than $3 or $4 million.
Absolutely. He probably made a few million. You're right.
Am I right? Back in the 90s, Chris, if you really think about it.
I'll look it up as we talk.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Okay.
There's no way he came close to making that type of money as a player.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
I think the contract is just absurd. I just think it's over the top. It's kind of in your face. Only a few privileged people, will be able to get a deal. It's not based on anything or any real numbers. When people say, well, Judge Judy makes $56 million a year, I understand Judge Judy making $56 million a year. Nobody knows who's going to be on the show, Chris, other than Judge Judy, right? It's contestants every week. She's on 500 stations around the country. She's on for an hour every day. It's all about Judge Judy, syndication. I could figure out the numbers and say, yeah, if you're on 500 TV stations in the middle of the day and you get these many viewers, you are making $56 million a year. I just don't get it when it comes to football analysts as if they're the draw. If Tom Brady's doing a Jets Tampa Bay game, not Tampa Bay, Jets Jacksonville, Chris, I don't care if Tom Brady's doing the game. Most people probably aren't going to watch unless they're fans of those two teams.
Unless they're good teams, right?
Do you know what I mean? Right. I'm saying in current situation.
Right.
I don't think that changes or alters it. Oh, Tom Brady's doing this game, I'm going to watch. The only way I think you might affect the game as a broadcaster is when people turn down the sound, Chris, if they don't like you. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to not watch the big NFL game because, oh, my God, Joe Blow is doing the game. I can't stand him. I'm not going to watch the game. You might turn the sound down. You might put the radio on in the background. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't really want to hear the guy. But I don't think that affects you as whether or not you watch it. I've always said, you're only worth what someone's willing to pay you. I don't care what job you do, Chris, doing a radio show. Right. I just brought up the idea that Jim Rome makes $30 million a year from CBS.
Right.
God bless him.
Well, a lot of that because he's got ownership of so much of his stuff.
But you know what I mean.
He was smart with that. Same with Mad Dog Chris Russo.
Howard Stern. Howard Stern signed a new deal, Chris. And what was it? $500 million, Rob G? Howard Stern signed a new deal. He's like 67 or 8 years old. And he just signed a new deal for like $500 million on Sirius.
Right.
But he has the numbers, and you can look at him and say, how many subscribers are subscribed for Howard Stern? And you can't begrudge that. This I just think is over the top. And I don't know, the inner workings on who Fox was trying to outbid. Like all the jobs are filled right now. I guess they could have fired somebody and brought Tom Brady on if they wanted, but every position was already handled. So I don't know how he could double what
he didn't have leverage, but he did. His leverage was that he's the greatest quarterback ever.
I get that, but
That's what it was.
Is that $35 million a year to do
Apparently
17 games?
So.
I don't.
I mean,
get that.
you just said it. You're worth what somebody's willing to pay you. I mean, that's what it. What do you think? If Michael Jordan was willing to go on TNT, now basketball obviously isn't as big as football.
It ain't no $35 million.
But he'd get a huge money if he was willing to go on one of these shows as a regular. It'd be huge. Now, they couldn't make that much because basketball doesn't obviously have the money that football has.
And here's the other thing.
Or the ratings.
But Brady thus far, I don't remember him being memorable with sound bites, glib. He's an aw shucks, gee whiz kind of guy. And maybe he'll come out of his shell. But for the most part, like there are people, when I remember when
Did you know Romo, though? Romo, I don't remember him being like some great quote when he was a player.
I don't think he's the greatest broadcaster. So
people really like him.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Aikman wasn't, I don't know that people would have predicted Aikman was that good.
I don't think Aikman is that great. I think he's good. I think he's good.
People
but I
love
think he's
him.
great.
I mean, people they do a good job.
No, but that's not. I'm just giving you my taste. I'm just saying. I didn't say that. I'm just giving you my taste.
I don't know.
I like Chris Collinsworth better than all of them, and he wasn't a star that they were. So I get that. I like Chris Collinsworth.
I mean, I like those guys. I think they're good, and I do think that I agree with you in that. And let me get to this quickly because we brought up Troy Aikman, Rob. His career earnings, and Rob G, correct me if I'm wrong, was $55 million.
Crazy.
For his career. And his highest season ever, I'm surprised it was this high, Rob, but in 1999, it was $16 million.
Wow, I'm shocked he was in that.
I'm shocked. Yeah.
So, but he made nothing prior to that. Then
I remember
you said
Magic,
55 total.
Yeah, 55 total. So he's gonna make more money broadcasting than he did as a quarterback. Magic Johnson once told me, he said, "I ain't make nothing as a player." Relatively speaking.
He signed that 25-year, $1 million
year. Which they amended later. But Magic probably, Rob, made about 40, 45 million as a player. Somewhere around, I'm kind of, it's somewhere around there. And obviously now he's worth $700 million, something like that. Maybe more now. So he's done it with business. But yeah, I agree. America is football crazy. And whether or not you got Tom Brady, Troy Aikman, whoever it is, Tony Romo broadcasting the games, people are going to tune in. You're absolutely right about that. Now, I will say this, Rob. I do think the announcers make a difference in a positive way, too. You're right. If they're terrible, you might want to turn down the sound. But I do think good announcers do make a game better. Would I watch it even without them? Sure. Yes. But they do make a game better. And I've heard some bad ones. I think a couple of teams that I haven't liked, or at least individuals on ESPN or some other station, that the game wasn't quite the same to me because the broadcasters weren't as good. And so now we don't know what Brady will be like. I think he's shown more personality, on social media over the last few years. So I'm guessing he'll be pretty good. But I do think, look, there's no doubt these guys, you don't have to pay them that much money. Like you said, with Brady, who you competing against?
Right. That's all I'm saying.
I will say this. That's a great get for Fox. I mean, it's huge. I mean, this dude is in many people's eyes, the best football player ever. In my eyes, in many people's eyes, the best quarterback ever. It's an awesome hire. And the money is stunning. But if you look at it over 10 years, like the Romo and Aikman, they're going to, it's almost like athlete salaries. In 7 years, 5 years, Romo's going to be like, yo, I need more money, And so you could look at it that way, and that Brady's people were smart to project out over 10 years how much, salaries will increase. But I think it's an awesome hire. I mean, I don't know if he'll be any good. I assume he'll be good. But Tom Brady on your telecast, I think it's a great move for Fox for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be a wait and see, and they'll have to figure out how honest he'll be, how much he connects with people. Will people there's an anti-Tom Brady crowd out there, like enough with Brady, so it'll be interesting to see. I don't think that he's a slam dunk that everybody's enamored or everybody loves Tom Brady. So it'll be interesting. I think he is a what do you call it, Chris? Like polarizing figure. As much as he's won and as good as he's been, he's a polarizing figure. I've had a couple friends of mine say, I'm not watching. Like, that's what they text me. First thing, I'm not watching.
Yeah,
of course they're going to watch the game.
Exactly.
No, I'm saying, but that was their initial reaction. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, of course, they're going to watch. If he's doing a big game, you're going to watch. That's just how it is.
I think a lot of times, too, like players that may be polarizing as players, once they retire, because a lot of fans don't like them. Now, with Brady, I do think it's extra because of the cheating and stuff. But a lot of people don't like a player, an athlete, whoever it is, because, he's not on their team and he's beating their team. And then when that player retires, a lot of times people can really appreciate his career more because he's no longer a threat on the field. I felt that way with Larry Bird. I hated Larry Bird as a player, because I was a Lakers fan and a Philadelphia 76ers fan, and he was, beating them a lot. And when he retired, I was able to give him more due as a player and really acknowledge how great he was. When he played, I was like, always, Magic's better, Doc's better, whatever. So it'll be interesting, but he is polarizing. But, you had people that didn't like Romo and Aikman, not to this extent, but it'll be interesting. But I do overall think it's a great hire. 877-99 on Fox. Your guys turn to weigh in. Tom Brady hired by Fox, $37.5 million a year. What are your thoughts?
All right, let's kick it off with Al in North Carolina. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, what's going on, Rob, man? You got on me a few weeks ago for my Brooklyn Nets sake, so maybe I'll make you feel better this time. The Tom Brady thing is privilege, of course, because how many people do you know can walk into a place, get that much money without even being good at something yet? And I have another take. We all should be standing around asking the NFL why players can't get guaranteed contracts. If you got enough money to pay these ex-players $300 million, $200 million,
they're getting guaranteed contracts, Rob, and not the. I assume these are guaranteed contracts, and not the
you
players.
know why?
No.
You know what? You know why, Al? No, but Al,
get them,
Al. But let me say, Chris and I have talked about it. Until the players are willing to fight for it, the owners will continue to do what they get away with. The players refuse to fight. Baseball's done it. Hockey's done it. You remember hockey missed a whole season, Chris? They did.
Yep. Basketball.
Okay? Basketball did it. If you want to do it, you have to make a sacrifice. The players won't do it. That's why they have poor health care plan, Chris, and they don't have guaranteed. Not all.
I've even heard, Rob, and we got next time Ephraim's on, we got to ask him about it. But I've heard players, and you probably have too, ex-players say they're better off without guaranteed deals. Haven't you heard that before? I've heard that before.
Yeah, but I don't buy it.
I agree. I think you're better off.
I think they've been told that.
Money.
You know what I mean? Like
I
they've
hope
been told
they're smart
that
enough to look at it themselves,
to make them feel good or whatever. But anyway, Nate in Austin, Texas, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, I think it's a total waste of money paying Tom Brady that salary. Nobody's going to watch these games because of who's announcing it. I'm the biggest Reggie Miller fan alive, and if I tune into a game and Reg is calling it, I think that's great, but I'm not going to tune into a game because Reggie Miller's calling
Right.
it. Same with any other announcer. I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't really care if Troy's calling the game or not. It's who's playing. What a waste of money. They're flushing it down the drain. It's ridiculous.
I think, Rob, this is the best way to describe it. Icing on the cake. That's what an announcer is.
No, it is.
Icing on
And
the
if you
cake,
have a
right?
great one, Chris, I agree.
It's good,
You
but yeah,
know, I
I'ma watch
love
it
watching
anyway.
games. You know, we're very fortunate in before he retired out here. Vince Scully's one of the best baseball announcers. He's retired now. Is it great to listen to him, Chris? Yeah, it is. Does it enhance the
Right.
game a little bit?
Yep.
When you go to Dodger Stadium, this was one of the most unbelievable things, Chris, when I first started going. People would be at the ballpark. This is in the 90s. And, Chris, bring their radios. You know why? They wanted to hear Vince Scully. They were at the game.
Right.
They still would have their radios with them because they wanted Vince Scully enhance the game for them. That's incredible.
Yep.
I never heard that before.
MB back in the game playing.
Is he okay?
So, yeah,
Great.
fortunately, he's good. Yeah.
Diego in Seattle, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What up?
So I'm going to have to disagree with you guys. I think it's a power play by Fox Sports, and I think it's a smart move because I feel like over time I've gone completely from ESPN to Fox Sports just because maybe 2020 hindsight, they're like, oh, we're going to take a chance on these people and these different type of performers, and it's kind of panned out for them, right? Like, well, it's panned out for me as a consumer. I kind of like this all of Fox Sports lineup. Everything, like, all day, what they got. Even, like, to end the day with you guys, like, I think it's perfect. Like, everything they have is perfect,
I get that.
Thank you, man.
Yes, but
We
I get
appreciate
that.
Yes,
but
yes,
my
indeed.
question to you is, are you watching NFL football for the announcer? Like you might enjoy it, or Tom Brady might be good at it, Chris. But that's the difference. Like when you tune in to me and Chris every night, you like what you hear. You don't know what guests are coming on. You don't even know what we're talking about. Am I right, Chris? They have no idea.
Well, Rob, to your point, and again, I think it's a great move by Fox. I do agree with him that, this is competition, Rob. They're trying to one-up ESPN and Amazon. There were all these companies going after these big-name broadcasters. But what I will say, Rob, I think the in-studio guys, the Terry Bradshaws, the Strahans, the Howie Longs, people have to choose, right? Before the game.
That's a choosing, right?
Which one am I
that's a
watching?
choice,
Am I watching
right.
ESPN? Am I watching Fox? Am I watching NBC? Like, those guys, you're going to choose it based on who you like. The game, you're choosing based on the game. It can enhance it. I'm not hating on Brady. I'm happy for him.
No, I know what you're saying, but
but
there's no choice
for the game, right?
If Brady winds up doing right, Fox has the NFC games. If he's doing the Packers and the Bears on Christmas night, am I not watching, Chris? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
No,
Right.
I'm watching.
Absolutely.